So, hello once again. Now that you can see me, I'll just say another quick hello for students who are here about 10 minutes early. They've been just engaging briefly, but now it's exactly the time that we had scheduled the session to start. So I won't be using up any more time. We'll be gradually getting into the agenda as more students come in. I'm seeing more students coming in. But for now, as you come in, please complete a poll that's on your screen. It's just general questions for myself and my team as we go through today's presentation. We want to know which items should we focus on more, where are most students stuck at, and so on. I would like to just hear that. And while it's a technical orientation meeting and I'll be telling you more than you'll be telling me much, feel free to have your video on as we get started. I'll resume the recording. Okay, hello Hassan, I say from Malindi, Kenya. Thank you for being here. I could see your video at some point. I switched it off because it was quite early, but feel free to switch on your video if you are comfortable with that, and everyone. And also feel free to use the chat for questions, introductions, comments, feedback, and all that. I'll have a team, our team, as any of us is speaking, there'll be another team going through the chat and answering questions so that we are able to support everyone. But as we go through the agenda for today, we are wondering, how do I do a quiz? How do I attend the classes? This session will be aiming to answer most, if not all, of those questions. And therefore, if you have a question on the technical side, you could wait towards the end of the session and you feel like I have not answered the question, you can put it in the chat at the time. Okay. So you see 26 of 37 have completed the poll. The poll is not mandatory. I just wanted to get your feedback and input. So I'll go through this as more students come in. One of the first questions was, which program are you enrolled in? And I'll be introducing myself shortly. I'm allowing more students to join as I go through the icebreaker activity, which in this case is the poll. Introduce yourself in the chat. And my team is also joining in. I see most of them are already here. So we'll be able to start shortly. So program, I see most students are in the certificate program. We do have some students in the MBA and in the BBA program. Everyone, welcome to the session. Because it's the technical orientation session, it is inclusive of all programs. So everything we are covering, we follow the same approach for all programs. So it is inclusive and so on. New students, 91% of the students are new. Welcome on board and congratulations on starting your new journey with EBU. Really excited to have you here. And I have 3 students who have taken other courses with EBU. Thank you for joining once again. I hope you don't find it too repetitive. I hope you'll be able to learn a thing or two. So welcome to the new students and also continuing students in our programs. I see 81% have managed to log in and access their courses, which is a really good statistic. I do have 6 students here who are yet to log in and access. That's perfectly okay. We'll be covering, even for those who have logged in, the agenda will consist steps on how to log in and how to reset your password, just in case in the future, once you have started your learning, that becomes a challenge. So we'll be covering that aspect too. 58% have managed to introduce themselves, another 42% not yet. I'll go over that. How majority do have access to a laptop and computer, and I have a set of students who will be using their mobile phones stroke tablets, and that's perfectly okay. The system is structured to be usable with any device. So whether you're using a laptop or a mobile phone or a mixture of both, you'll be able to manage your learning. So that is in no way aiming to exclude either group. You can use any device, of course. In a scenario, let's say you are writing an essay paper, maybe a computer might be better in that regard. But in terms of the usability and flexibility of the system and doing the assignments, you'll be able to use any device. And how you feeling about the new term? Majority are excited. I am excited too. I have a few who are nervous. Hopefully, this meeting will help with that. Let's see. Hopefully, maybe I should do another poll towards the end, and everyone will be giving me excited, I hope. So that's it for the poll. I'll be ending it to just an engaging activity for me to also gauge where most of the students are. Thank you for introducing yourself. Kindly keep doing that. I'm seeing students from Luxembourg, Serbia, Ukraine. Welcome. I have Winnie from Kenya. So keep doing that. We'll get into the agenda shortly. I tend to use a bit of time here as I start, and then toward the end, I am rushing. So we won't use up too much time. I'll introduce myself, and the team present here will introduce themselves. Then we get started. Some of you might already know me. For the students who are returning, the ones who are not new, you're familiar with my name and voice. And I didn't put my official name on my Zoom, so I'll do that as I continue here. So my name is Anne Matatu. I am the program director and the technology support manager at EBU. So in today's capacity, fully as the technology support manager, because as the announcement indicated, the intention of today's meeting is a technology orientation meeting. So in today's capacity, I am here as a technology support manager and looking forward to go through the few items we feel like most students usually need to be aware of as you get started. And hopefully by the end of the session, you're feeling more confident to get started with your learning on Monday. I'll have my team introduce themselves. Big Saliha, you can go ahead. Samira, I think Alan is rejoining, I hope, and Louise. So just say a quick hello before we continue.
Hello, everyone, and please confirm if you can hear me correctly.
Yes, I can.
Okay, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Saliha Parsa. I am originally based from Afghanistan. It has been more than 2 years and a half that I am a part of EBU Technology Department. And I would like to say a warm welcome to everyone who has joined this meeting and who has started a new term with EBU. I will be assisting you in chat, so please feel free to raise any questions and inquiries you have. And I hope you enjoyed this meeting and the intake ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Saliha. Go ahead, Samira.
Thank you, Anne. Hello, everyone. My name is Samira Amiri. I am from Afghanistan. Welcome to EBU. If you're recurring, welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. I'm here at EBU working as a BI analyst. So I'm happy to support you in technical issue if you faced. So you please do not hesitate to use the contact form in our website to contact help desk if you face any technical issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Louise, I know you're not in tech fully, but please say a quick hello as you're here. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Louise. I'm very happy to see some names that I recognize on here. Particularly, I just want to say hello to some of the students who are joining us from Eastern Europe, because I know that many of you came to us through the partnership with ERIC, and I was the person who was responding to your emails. So I just want to say hello and welcome. Very glad that you're all here. I'm in the admissions team, and so you may have some communication with me particularly at the beginning of the semester. Once again, welcome. And to those who are already existing students of EBU, welcome back. Let's have a nice session, and I hope that it will be useful for you to help find your way around our learning platform.
Thank you so much, Louise. I think finally we have Alan. Alan, please, introduction. You can go ahead.
Hello, my name is Alan. I'm gonna be interacting with you in the capacity of the certificate program office. So feel free. I'm sorry, I've been having camera glitches this entire time. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alan. So I'll get started, and Alan and the team will jump in on the chat or verbally here and there to cover some of the items. So we'll get right into it. And just to highlight, the session is being recorded for your information as you're attending the session, and also for your information that there will be a copy for you to access any of all the items we'll cover today. There'll be a recording for you to come back to. The session is also streaming on the EBU YouTube Network Hub for access for students who are streaming there. So just some housekeeping. You will not be able to unmute during the session, but you can put your question in the chat. Usually, I don't really have a lot of time to take verbal questions towards the end. Hopefully today might change, but please put your question in the chat. The team will be answering, and if any questions that they're not able to answer will be directed to me. So we'll get right into it with a brief overview of what to expect in today's session. I highlighted some of it as I was going through the poll results, but I'll be doing a brief overview of the platforms for you that you'll be using. You're already interacting with all the platforms actually, given our learning platform and Zoom, which you're using for today's session. So you might already be in a more comfortable position than you realize. We'll also cover access points, which is usually a challenge that comes in at the beginning of the semester, but also as you continue with your learning, you forget your password or you reset your devices. We also cover that. And also your profile, basically what's on my screen right now. I won't go through every other item because once we get to the agenda, we'll be covering it in detail. So I'll get right into it just to also save some time and to not use up your most attentive minutes of this session going over the agenda only. So the overview of platforms that you'll be using, what areas do you need to rely on for you to completely sustain the requirements of your academic requirements. So first we have, and most important, is the learning platform, which is EBU Connect, is what we refer to it. And also that ties to the URL of our website, of our learning platform, rather. Let me not call it a website because we do have a website separately. But this is the learning platform. You already have access to these. If you're already receiving the emails we have been sending this week, that means you have an existing account on our EBU learning platform. So you'll be using this majority in terms of completing your quizzes, communicating with the instructors, communicating with your fellow students, communication from the administration. So very important that you ensure you are accessing the platform regularly to do your coursework, to check any communications and so on. So this is one platform. And the second platform that you'll be using is Zoom, because EBU is structured around live webinars. We operate online learning, but we do not provide pre-recorded sessions for the students to take a look at their own time. On a weekly basis, you'll be required to join a live session, similar to what we are doing right now, where I am going through item A, item B, and so on. You'll be meeting on a weekly basis with your instructor via Zoom. It's the same platform we're using right now. So you're already here. You are already familiar with that. So if you thought you didn't know anything, you do. You're already halfway there. So you'll be using the learning platform for all other learning items, basically. And you'll also be using Zoom for your live webinars. So those are the two platforms that we rely on as EBU. Inside your courses, we might put for you a YouTube video. So of course, you'll need to access YouTube for that and so on. But majorly, this is it. The learning platform URL is, or link, the learning platform link is connect.ebulux.lu. You already have access to these, but just in case, I want to highlight that. We also do have a website, a separate website. This is purely informational, as any other institution. We have a website. So the website is ebulux.lu, but your learning platform is now connect.ebulux.lu. So this is a platform that will be giving you a tour of today, showing you how to access and so on. So in terms of the overview of platforms, so learning platform and Zoom, I'll repeat myself again and again, but it's important just so I make sure that when Monday comes, you already know where you need to go. So the learning platform, this is the landing page, really. It's just informational to give you access. And here we have a very fun countdown. We are almost at 30,000 learners. So we are very excited to welcome anyone who is joining us today as we keep working towards this goal. Other items that will be available here on the homepage, besides these posters, there's a section here that will be important for some students. So for example, here is a tech handbook, because sometimes you're not able to log in. So we have provided the tech handbook here so that if you're stuck on the homepage, you're able to click this and access the PDF copy of the tech handbook and troubleshoot and so on, and access it. It's opening up here. So here it is. So everything that we'll be covering today is also covered in the tech handbook. So this is also another resource, and it was attached in today's announcement. You should have seen a tech handbook linked in the announcement that was sent today. This will also be another reference point for you as you go through your learning. I'll go ahead and cover the login in and the password reset part here first, and then I'll be passing over to Alan to cover the profile update and ensuring your names are in order, updating your profile picture, and so on. So we'll get right into it now. Now the technical part starts, although it's also very, the platform is user friendly, and this might be an opinion I've formed because I've been working with EBU for over 6 years now. This might have been an opinion I've formed because I've been on the platform as long as I've been working with EBU. But generally, I've found that after the first or 2 weeks, students really settle in and they're able to find their way around very easily. So just pay attention to today's session, and then you also have to go in there and attempt access and so on to feel more comfortable. So to log in, we start there. How do you log into the platform? Which most students have been able to log in, but I have a few students who mentioned they are yet to do that. So this is how you'll be able to do that. You'll access the learning platform. You can log in from different access points. So if you click login here on the top right corner here, you can log in from there. You can also click join stroke login, join EBU stroke login here. It will also link you to the same place. And also at the same time, you might already have your course in your history, for example. So if I don't show this will come out. You can access your course directly on your history. It will ask you to log in. So you don't always have to come back to the homepage to restart the process. Any access point you have, maybe in your browser history, and you're trying to log in, the system will prompt you to do that at any particular point. So in this case, we'll proceed with this button here on the homepage. We'll click login. You'll be required to enter your username. I'll remove this just so you can clearly what the requirements here are. You'll be required to enter your username or email. So this means you can either use your username that has been assigned or email. Choose one or the other, and then you have to enter your password here. And many tools nowadays give you the option to save your password, so you don't need to really carry that around with you. You'll do that and then click login here. But I do want to cover the forgotten your username or password before I log in and get into the platform. So we'll do that first, then come back here, log in, and I'll give you a tour of one of the courses. So if you're unable to log in, maybe you try to log in. If you're entering the wrong username or password, most of the times you'll be notified invalid login, some along those lines. You'll just get an error. You could always try again. I always recommend, if you're sure you're entering the correct password, just try logging in again. Sometimes it might just be a brief glitch. But in the case that you have tried twice, thrice, you still can't log in. To reset your password, and for students who are here but you have not managed to log in because you do not know your password, this is how you'll be able to proceed immediately after the session. Or I was going to say you could follow along, but possibly not, because I don't want to go too slowly. We have other items to go over. So we'll click forgotten username or password just here below the password field. And what this field will require from you will say to reset your password, submit your username or your email address. This is important because it requires only one of these. In the case, because the username is assigned during your account creation, either by yourself or by the admin team. It depends who created your account for you, but it's possible that you're entering the wrong username and that's why you cannot log in. So in this area, we always recommend using your email address because the email address will always be correct. You already know that can be verified. So you'll proceed here to enter your email address, and I'll just try one, but either, so you are asked to enter your username or email address, and then if the system can't find you, you'll receive instructions on how to reset your password. So you'll enter your email address and then you'll click search here, and it will inform you if you supplied the correct details. In this case, the correct email address, you should have received an email to change your password. Just allow me a second to see if I've already received that. If not, I'll just take you through the steps manually or yeah. But you'll receive the email, most of the time you'll receive it right away. It won't be a long delivery. If you're not able to receive it right away, just you can wait for it for a few minutes. I'm trying to connect one of my devices to my internet just to see if I get the email. We'll do this part manually. I'll demonstrate it. But when you receive the email, you should follow any other password reset platform that you may have utilized. So in this case, we'll be required to enter a new password. And at the same time, you'll be able to access your username. So in the case that you are failing to access the platform because you're entering the wrong username, during the password reset stage, you'll be able to see your correct username. So you'll enter a new password, and after that, you'll be able to come back to the platform and log in. Okay, yes, I've received the email already. So as I said, it shouldn't take long. I want to open this up on here on my screen so that I can, instead of, I don't to keep to give you the instructions verbally so that I can better demonstrate, so that the next time you might be having a similar issue, you are able to see. Okay? So just give me a second to open my email and show you exactly how the link will look like. Yeah, so I have. So you'll receive the link to your email quite immediately. And now this is what it will look like. As I said, the password link will be able to show you your username. So in the case you're entering the wrong username in the previous page, you'll be able to confirm it at this point. And then at this point, you'll enter a new password. The password has to meet these requirements. Yep. So please read through this carefully. If you're entering a password, it keeps saying invalid or not, it does not meet requirements, just make sure it has any of these requirements here. I will not change my password in this case because it will just make the process longer. But this is how you do it. You'll be able to enter a new password, and then once you save changes, you'll be able to continue to the next page and now proceed to log in. And now, assuming now you're able to log in, we're now on the same page, hopefully. You can now go back in here and I'll log in and give you a tour of how a course looks like, so that when Alan jumps in later to demonstrate how to do a quiz, how to do a forum, you know exactly what he's talking about, okay? So that's how to reset password, how to log in. Again, the session is being recorded and the tech handbook is available for you to come back to if you feel like you missed a step or two of what I was going over. So Alan I think I'll go over the tour of the course. If that's okay, then you'll jump in and cover how to update profile and the profile picture and profile names.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, perfect. So I'll use business management as a demonstration course. Most of the courses follow the same structure, but if you are doing business management, you can already get an up-close view of how your course looks like. But all our courses follow the same structure. So all your courses will look exactly like I'm about to demonstrate. So the first section is just general information. Your instructor, if their LinkedIn is provided, feel free to connect with them on LinkedIn. That's one part of having a virtual environment. You get to build community with your instructors, with the EBU staff members, with their fellow students. So that will be provided there. There is a brief welcome message here that shows you the course will start on May 11th. And the reason it says May 11th is because we are currently doing orientation week that goes up to a week. And then after this week, now we'll be able to get into the courses where you'll get to week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on. So you'll have the instructor announcements available here. You'll have the instructor announcement is as it implies, is where now the instructor, or in this case, the professor, the faculty member, will be able to send you weekly announcements or regular announcements to maybe say week 1 quiz is open, or in case of a class is postponed, or any form of update an instructor might need to communicate will be put in this platform. It will be broadcasted to your email, so you receive a copy to your email. So make sure you are checking your registered email regularly so you're not missing any updates. But also those announcements will be available here in this forum. You'll be able to open it and read all the announcements. So student cafeteria is for your use, where you can see here. Students can raise questions about the course and course material with each other, and then the instructor will be moderating. So in this case, the instructor will go through it, and where you have discussed with each other, if there is a question that the instructor has to address themselves, this is where you pose any questions for the instructor. As these suggests, it's a suggestion box. It is for your use. You have any feedback at any point, it is anonymous, it's open-ended. You can provide your feedback. It's an ongoing, this will be fully available to you during the semester for your use. And these are course documents. Each course will have its own version. And this is important because now this is how you join the weekly classes. Remember, I mentioned you'll have a weekly webinar. It will be 1 hour, 30 minutes on a weekly basis. For example, in this course, there'll be every week on Tuesday is when you'll be having your class at 4 p.m. CET. All EBU time zones are communicated in CET. The fact that you made it to this session on time implies you already have clarity on what CET converts in your individual time zone. So keep that in mind, because the classes are also communicated in the same time zone. So this is really important because this is how you join your classes. I would really like to highlight that this is not sent to you on a weekly basis. We won't share it with you every week. You won't be receiving it to your email. I've had students turn around in the middle of the semester to say, I wasn't receiving the link to my email, so I wasn't attending classes. No, that will not be sent to your email on a weekly basis. But what I always encourage students is to come in here, copy these, put it in a note or in your somewhere. Just put it somewhere you can easily access, so you don't have to keep logging into the platform every time. But even if you choose to log into the platform every week to access it, it will always be in this place here. So most courses already have these in place in their courses. So you should already be seeing your webinar link. Of course, if you click it right now, it will say waiting for host because it's not time for your class. But when the date for your class arrives, the instructor will be present and your fellow students and so on. If you're not sure about your time zone, you can use this resource here to confirm. It is made available to you. And these are support resources. We'll also be providing a WhatsApp group for all courses. Right now, it is hidden because it's not up to date. This is for the previous cohort. We'll be creating a group for every cohort. And the group, just to clarify, will not be as a support resource. So please do not put what's in the WhatsApp group questions that are intended for EBU admin. For the EBU admin, I'll show you exactly where to reach out to the EBU support team. But the WhatsApp group, because they go through over 10 of our classes, we are not able to utilize the WhatsApp groups as a support resource or a support platform. So do not put your questions in the WhatsApp group. I'm waiting for the EBU admin team to be able to respond. We'll show you how to officially access or contact the EBU team, but there will be a WhatsApp group available to you to join, and to give you an easier platform to engage with your fellow classmates. And also the EBU team can use it to send any quick updates that are needed to be sent on sometimes maybe a quick change of the class time that might not be received on email in a timely manner. We can use the group for that, and so on. So that's the first section. This is just the course information section, just general information about your course that is very critical, especially for new students. And to show you how a week looks like. So once you start your learning, what should you expect? How does we operate on a weekly basis? You'll only have access to the content 1 week at a time. So for example, on Monday, you'll get to access week 1. And then when we get to week 2, you now have access to week 2 and can go through week 1 and week 2. We won't make everything available to you because that would be overwhelming and really lose the structure we aim to maintain even in an online environment. So on a weekly basis, this is what to expect. You'll have an overview of the week, just showing you the learning objectives to expect and the content that will be covered here. We'll also have resources. And this is what I was referring to when I said in the course, you might be required to use YouTube, for example. So now that's an additional platform. I had said we use 2 platforms, but sometimes the resources in the course might lead you to another platform, but those are platforms you're already familiar with. So most of the times it will be YouTube videos, for example, that are provided as resources. You'll then have more resources, and these will be PDFs, articles, anything that the instructor feels will support your learning will be made available in that section. And then we'll have a forum. Alan will cover how to do a forum, or will explain more about this, but there'll be a forum that you need to complete. And there'll be a weekly quiz. At the end of the day, it's an academic institution. You have to be assessed. We have to make sure our learning objectives are being met. So you'll have a weekly quiz in your courses. Not all courses will have a practice test. It's no problem or any gap, doesn't indicate any gap. This is not mandatory for all courses, but you'll have a weekly quiz in every week or maybe every 2 weeks. The instructor might choose to not have a quiz in a particular week, but kindly expect weekly quizzes that will be closing at a particular time and with no exceptions and so on. So this is really important, the weekly quizzes and the forums here. And that's how a week looks like. So if I close week 1 here or collapse it, and I do a quick scroll of week 2, you'll note week 2 follows similar approach, an overview, resources here, a forum, and a weekly quiz, and that keeps repeating. And that's what I meant by I have noted that once students get through the first 2 weeks, they are more comfortable on the platform. They're moving around more freely because the structure remains the same. So it gives you a predictability. You're not having to go through a learning curve every other Monday. You're not having to navigate something new every other week. You start a new topic. So that's what to expect in a weekly basis. So that's the overview of the platform and how everything works together so that at the end you can meet your requirements and hopefully receive your certificate. So Alan, if you are ready, let me know. You'll be able to share your screen for the next part. Let me know so I can leave that to you.
Yes, on my screen.
Yes. And at some point your video was loading. We couldn't see it, just loading. So I don't know if that is now okay. You can give it a try and I'll let you know.
Okay, let me try that.
Yeah. So Alan will go over the next part. I had highlighted how to upload your profile picture and update the names on your profile. So that's the next part that I'll pass over to him. Yeah, Alan, I still can't see you. I am seeing more of the banner than you. I don't know what the conflict is. But okay. Maybe you could proceed. You can
Let
proceed
me
with
just
the
proceed. I've been trying to work this out since the meeting started. I think I'll sort
Okay.
it another day.
Okay, so good.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, now it is visible.
Okay. So let me I've moved back to my dashboard here. So this is just how your dashboard will look. And I know some of you have been with us for multiple courses. So this is how your dashboard will look. And down here, you just have all your courses, and at the top, you have your frequently accessed courses. If you want to edit or change your profile picture or change your settings, what you need to do is you need to go to the top right corner here where you have your image. I just have my image here for you to look a bit different, but I'll go over how to add in your image, which is also usually good because it brings a personal feel to forums. So once you're here, you can navigate to your profile, to your dashboard, and you can even see the calendar and all the things we have here. And then to edit your personal settings, so these are your names, your image and whatnot, you can move to preferences, then you can move to edit profile. So when you click on edit profile, it brings you to this page. So this page is where you have your first name, your last name, and your email address. And for us, these are key fields because these names as they are here are what will be reflected on your certificate when you complete your course. And this is what is going to be used when generating your certificate. So for example, I have 3 names, so Alan Mwangi Kebaso. So you can choose either to have 2 names in one field or 2 names in the other field. It doesn't matter really that much, as long as they are in the official format that's reflected on your ID or passport, then that's good. For your email address, you can also edit here. And this is in cases where maybe your Gmail gets full. I know that happens to us most of the time. Gmail just decides you've hit your cap and you need to switch Gmail so that you can receive emails again. So remember, whenever you do that, you come back here, edit this, because this is where all communication from us goes through. So this is all communication in your course and all communication made to all students via the student area. Then if you scroll down a little, you can see here under there's a section called user picture. So this is where you're gonna get everything related to your profile picture. We do insist on this for students because it's very good, especially when you're interacting with other students in the class. There's this thing that says, let me see your face and see your opinion. So yeah, when you're giving your fellow students comments or you're replying, let them be able to see your face because it creates sort of a community. And discussion forums are mandatory, so you're gonna be getting a lot of the same people in the same class for an entire 13 weeks. So it would be good to see your face. Now, let's assume that you've not uploaded a picture yet. So let me just delete my picture first so that I can start from the very start. So what you'll do, you'll click on the first button here. So this file button here. Then you'll select a file. Personally, I usually have multiple of this on file. You just pick a random one, then you select your photo. So this is from either your file explorer. If it's on your phone, it's going to look a bit different. You're going to navigate to your file explorer on your phone, but then the end result is the same. After that, you click upload file. Minute is a bit sluggish, so just bear with me for a minute. So yeah, that has reflected there. And once you're done with all these changes, I'm also gonna go over this part just for those ones who've been enrolled by a partner and they get this when they try to log in the very first time, because these are required fields. When you get this on yourself, if you are recommended to EBU by a partner, you can select EBU partner organization, then type in the name in this field, and then move to select them on the drop-down. That should end the problem here, and you should be able to access your dashboard correctly. But now moving back to this, once you've selected all this, you need to update your profile for these changes to actually stick. So click on update profile, and yeah, there's my updated profile photo. I think the next thing I was gonna go over is how to attempt a quiz. Let me just refresh this. So Anne has showed you how the course page looks like, and you'll notice in almost every week, you have an assessment to go over. So this is an assessment, a quiz assessment for that specific week you're in, and this is a forum assessment. So for these two things, which you'll need to complete on a weekly basis, what you need to do is, let's say you clicked on this, it opens in a new tab. I've done that pre this meeting just so my network doesn't interfere so much, but generally this is how it looks. Ignore this, I'd already made an attempt previously, but if this is your first time here, this will show you start attempts. So what you need to know is our quizzes are timed, and we usually have quizzes every week. So these quizzes will be given time from this week till the next time you have your class session. So this means you're supposed to attempt the assessment between now and the next session. And also do note that we do not allow extensions for missed assessments, especially quizzes. They're usually not that long, so as long as you can get an hour or two in between a week to take the assessment, then you'll be good. So let's say I attempt the quiz. So it will prompt me to start the attempt, notify me of the time limit. And here I have the quiz page. So this is a simple short quiz. So I do the first question. It also shows me my timer running down there. Then next page, I'll just do a few samples of this, then I'll skip to the end. Note that for weekly quizzes and assessments, I can navigate between questions, but now for our midterms and end-term exams, the questions are sequential. So what this means is that if you move from question 1 to 2, then you can't move back to question 1. So just be cautious of those. So you move to question 3, move on, let's say at some point you complete the quiz, then you can finish the attempt. Also, when you finish the attempt and there are some questions you skipped over, it will show you here in answers not saved. So here, there's answers saved. These are the ones you've done. This is not yet answered. So you need to go back. Again, for a normal quiz, you will be able to circle back. For your midterms and your end terms exams, you will have to be very careful. So again, let me just skip over to the end and submit and finish. Again, notifies you again. Then after that, for quizzes, most of our instructors usually set it so that you're able to see. But again, if this is not what you have on your course page, don't worry, it's just a different setting within that course page. So maybe that you'll reach out to your instructor or reach out to us. Now, the second thing I'm gonna go over is the forums. Weekly, you're gonna be prompted to answer our discussion forum questions. And this discussion forum questions are usually meant to help you in compounding what you've learned and expressing what you've learned within that week. So let's say for forum 1. So this is a forum. You're supposed to answer any question and reply to a colleague, or let's say now in this case, your fellow student, to any of the questions they post. And this might be you have a different opinion, you also have something to add on, or you differ. I also agree deferment is also, don't be afraid to differ with your fellow students. So yeah, so let's say in this case, once you want to answer a discussion question, highlight the one you want to answer, just figure out which of the questions you want to answer, then you can add a discussion topic. Then for the subject, you can put that discussion topic. So for me, I would say, how do ethical considerations influence decisions in human resource management? So have that, then you type in your texts. I don't have much to write because I'm not an expert here, but let's say I do that and then I post to forum. Once you post to forum, your fellow students are able to reply to this and give feedback. And also when you're engaging with those discussions, you'll find that it's, let's say you get different ideas every time. Now, also note that this is usually compulsory on our end, and forum attendance is usually mandatory. So once you do that, now we'll go over the second part, replying to a fellow student. So to reply to a fellow student, you just need to select what they've done or the forum they picked, and you come down here to reply. So under your response, you can choose whether you want to agree or you want to differ. I usually prefer the ones I beg to differ, but yeah, for you it might be different. So I think that's all on forums and quizzes. And just let us know if you have any questions in the chat and we'll be ready to address all that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alan. I hope that should have given you some clarity on the forums and quizzes. So I'll also show you an example of a forum. Remember in my poll question I asked, have you managed to introduce yourself? And a number of you selected yes, and some of you selected no. So I think these, you can also go out and now test your forum knowledge. Don't wait for Monday. You do have the opportunity to go in and already utilize a forum example. So one of a forum here, as you saw Alan sharing, the forums take up this icon here. We do have an orientation week activity, and we have mentioned it in the announcement sent up to this point, mentioning introduce yourself, introduce yourself. So this is a forum that you can already access. And I was reading through these, and the introductions are excellent. Everyone is coming in. It's lovely to be able to meet everyone, even though virtually. The feedback, the quotes, I especially love reading the quotes. I think I was reading one here by Honest. I don't know if Honest is in the meeting today. And the quote Honest shared was highlighting the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing, which it was interesting for me to read that prior to the meeting, because I was like, Anne, you have done the orientation meeting countless times. You probably know everything. But reading that prior to the meeting, was like, okay, maybe there is something for me to learn even during today's meeting. So please go through these, read your fellow students' introductions. It's a lovely way to meet everyone. Feel free to provide your LinkedIn, your social media, should you wish. We give students the platform to connect with each other. That's the idea of the orientation week activity, really. The forum, we present in the courses, those are for collaborative learning in terms of the topic at hand. You're sharing knowledge, you're disagreeing, agreeing, adding opinions to each other in terms of the coursework. But this forum is open-ended. We want you to meet each other. Maybe you have someone who is in your class, you have someone who is in your country, and you do not know each other because, well, you can't know everyone in your country. But now you're both at EBU, and it's a lovely opportunity to connect based on that. Be like, oh yeah, let's connect. So that's the idea of the orientation week forum here. There are so many students introducing themselves. I try to read through as many as possible and also reply myself here. So I'll be going through these. If I happen to reply to yours, feel free to reply, ask me a question. We treat it as a conversation that we are able to have in a virtual environment. And we'll look at our agenda together. Let's see what we have remaining. Not many items, especially on the technical aspects, because we have just now covered how to participate in a forum, or I'll take you through how to set up the Moodle app. This is important for students who want to, maybe you're just using your mobile phone, or you want to have both your computer and mobile phone to utilize for learning. As I said, the learning platform supports both devices. Because I'm not able to demonstrate on my mobile phone, I'll just go through some steps here, but I've tried to take really helpful screenshots that will be able to give you a guide. The Moodle app is an app that's available on your mobile phone. It's similar, the overview and the technicality of it, how do you do a quiz, how you reply to a forum, it's the same as what you have been presenting. But now what you need to do is you need to download the Moodle app from your app store, any app store that you use. The Moodle app should be available. It should be this icon with the graduation cape and orange, but Moodle meaning double O, that's the spelling. You'll be asked to select, I'll switch here, I have some better screenshots here. So you'll install it as you do any other app. Most students get stuck on this step. When you are asked, enter your site. This is where most students get stuck. So I'd really like to highlight, when you are asked, enter your site, you enter our learning platform, exactly as I showed when we were starting our learning platform, which is connect.ebulabs.lu. You enter there, and then it should appear here as a suggestion. You click on it, it will ask you to log in. And now we go back to all the lessons we have been learning up to this point. How do you log in? You enter your username and password. But if you don't have a password, how do you reset it? So now it approaches the same view of what we have been covering, and also the dashboard here. I did see a question in the chat regarding the schedule, the calendar. So I'd like to go over that. We do have still a few minutes to go, but really the technical aspects, we are almost coming to an end. I do not feel like anything has been left out. So start putting in questions in the chat. You are thinking Anne is concluding and she has not covered a question that I had. So please feel free to put that in the chat. I'll highlight the academic calendar very quickly so that I can tie it together to the webinar schedule. We are currently in term 3. We are concluding our academic year 2025/2026, which is always a good milestone to be able to come to the end of any process or any period. So we are starting here orientation week. We are here right now actively. I think we are doing great. Students are actively participating and so on. And then week 1 starts on Monday, May 11th. And so we go week 1, 2, 3, 1 week at a time, gradually. We'll have midterm exams between week 5 to week 7. That will differ, and we'll also discuss that a bit more during the student orientation meeting on Friday, which is more academic. This is purely technical. This is purely telling you how to do this and that. And then at the same time, we'll have week 13. So the semester is set to end during the August 3rd to August 9th week, so that you have that in mind as we go through the webinar schedule. So in terms of your classes and when they are scheduled, we have put together a table on the student area that indicates the webinar schedule. There's just a whole section here with the webinar schedules. We'll need to, maybe Saliha, you'll update these now for the term 3 group to access. I've just noted these. We're not able to see these yet, but this is where this will be available to you shortly after the session. You'll be able to see your course and when it is scheduled. Please note the only relevant class time is the course you're enrolled in. And I saw someone raise a question about the calendar. Yeah, the calendar will have all our classes. We'll have all the classes, but only pay attention to the class that you're enrolled in, to the course that you're enrolled in. Just because it's appearing on the calendar does not necessarily mean that you need to be present for those other classes. Another way to confirm the date and time for your course, and I personally might find these a bit more guiding and conclusive, is to go to the webinar link that has already been provided in your course. The webinar link will indicate there the time and the day. So it will say every week on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Luxembourg. And at the same time, the schedule is provided here. And we also populate these on the calendar. So I keep opening the wrong thing. I want the sidebar, yes. So on the calendar, you'll see multiple classes, but only attend the class that you're enrolled in. So for example, we have the Tech Orientation meeting, which we are in right now, and we have the student orientation meeting coming up on Friday. This is in my time zone, so pay attention to that. Sometimes your calendar will automatically meet your time zone. And then here actually, yeah, so it's 4 p.m., but then it's converting for me. Yeah, believe. And then now you'll see here all these classes, but you don't need to join all these classes. You just need to find your class. So if you're enrolled in Women and Leadership, just go to the calendar and see Women and Leadership takes place here. But these could be confusing and a bit busy. So that's why I'm saying it might be more helpful to refer to the student area here, or to refer into your individual course and go to the webinar link and confirm the time for your class there. We won't place the webinar link anywhere else except in your course, because I've seen students before unfortunately attend classes that are not meant for them by error, because the webinar link was available or a friend sent it to them. So they end up maybe attending Women in Leadership instead of Business Management. So only access your webinar link in your course so that you're sure you are in the correct place. And yeah, Alan did highlight the dashboard. So if you do not have access to your course yet, please go to your dashboard. It's linked at the top of the menu here. You'll be able to see it, or on the sidebar, but mostly here it might be the easiest access point. You'll be able to see recently accessed courses, meaning if you have clicked any of the courses recently, most likely student area, it is appearing as a recently accessed course. But to access all other courses, you just need to scroll down a little bit here. These will also be important. This is where it will show up. If you have an upcoming quiz, the forum is due, it's about to close. This is what the timeline refers to. But then here is where you'll be able to see all your courses. So you'll be able to click here, all. Make sure it says all, because if any of these filters are in place, it might exclude your course by error. So just say all courses. You could always star some of your courses should you want, but you might not have as many courses as I do here. But so when you say all, you'll be able to see the course that you are enrolled in. So I'm trying to also go through to see if I've missed anything. Maybe Saliha, you can let me know if there are questions in the chat that I am happy to repeat something, really, if the question is coming up. So let me know what's in the chat.
Yes, we have some questions regarding the forum activity. They said that they lost the track. And also the most of the questions are about the timing, the calendar. So I am replying in the chat. So they are asking about some cases that they have two courses at the same time, at the same day.
Okay. So the forum, so the forum will, so the session is being recorded, so you can come back to it, or also the tech handbook would help with that. But the forum requires you to do two items. You need to add your discussion topic. You need to click here and say add discussion topic. Here, you'll be able to click there. When you click this, it will give you an option similar to an email. Think of it, you're writing an email. You want to put a subject that summarizes what you're writing, for example, introduction. And then here you introduce yourself. write a proper introduction. We have provided some guiding items here should you wish, but also feel free to, you don't have to restrict yourself to these. You can always introduce yourself. Maybe you have a hobby you like doing or something. So you introduce yourself here. And then the other relevant part of forums is replying to your fellow students. So for example, I had this open earlier from Camila, and she has shared a really lovely quote here. So what you can come in here and also a reflection, very lovely submission. So you click reply and you're able to type reply here. And I just to give us a demonstration. Alan also demonstrated this. I'll just make it very quickly for the sake of time. So thank you for sharing for now. Camila, if you're here, I hope it makes sense why I've given such a summarized response. And then there it is. So now you have replied. So those are the two things you need to do in a forum. Add a discussion topic and also reply to your fellow students. And that's how you do it. And this session is recorded, so you can come back to that should you need to go over it again. And just once again to highlight, please don't, you only need to attend the classes you're enrolled in. And if you're enrolled in any two classes that have the same schedule, please send us an email. And as I say that, I did promise to direct you to where to contact our team. So here, very immediate, there's someone that says contact us. So that's where you'll go. I'll just open that in a new tab because if I want you to show another placement for the same. Here, contact us also in the footer is also available. You go to that, and these are the different offices we have. I did see most of the students here are in the certificate program office. So for example, if you have questions regarding a certificate program, academic, these are the offices, admission or academic, these are the offices to contact. If you have a question that's technical, for example, I cannot log in, I cannot upload a profile picture, I cannot, the technical aspect of it, please do, you now select the tech help desk. You select the office here. So you're able to go in here and say, I want the EBU tech help desk, or I want to contact the EBU certificate program office and so on. If it's anything financial related, for example, you contact the EBU accounts office. So you'll select there, enter your name, your email address. I also really recommend, and this will be very helpful, as you are writing an email or contacting us, make sure it is as detailed as possible. So let's say you're having an issue, you cannot access quiz 3. Make sure you are mentioning, I am so and so, I'm enrolled in this course. I cannot access week 3 quiz because it gives me this error and that error. That shortens the troubleshooting process a lot, because especially as we are starting, we get a lot of support requests. So if you make your email as detailed as possible, we are not having to rely on the system so much to collect this information. We can reply to you as soon as your email comes in. We already know where the issue is and so on. And you can always attach a screenshot. I love a screenshot. Screenshots are the best way to communicate what you're going through, because sometimes you're describing it and I'm not understanding. But if you attach a screenshot, I'm able to see already. I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense. So please make sure your emails are as detailed as you can make them, so that we can support you quicker and be able to clear as many student support requests as possible in a day. We're coming to the conclusion of our session. Saliha, please jump in if there is another question that has come in or something we should clarify further. But that's the conclusion. We'll be sharing more information in terms of your exam. We'll be using a proctoring system just to ensure enhanced exam integrity. So we'll be sharing more information on that, and a separate tech handbook on the exam access. We'll be using a tool called Proctorio. So I won't go into that right now because it would take yet a longer time, and we're already here for over 1 hour that we had scheduled. But really, that's it for the technical orientation meeting. I hope it answers a question or two, maybe not all questions. We'll share the recording so that you can go back to it and see this, I had missed this. Or if a question comes up, once you start your learning on Monday and you're thinking, Anne and her team did not cover this during the technical meeting, you can send us an email or refer to our tech handbook. But I'm 99% sure you are ready to get started. You are ready to get started. So what you just need to do is confirm when your class is. Saliha and the team will be, I saw a question about there seems to be a conflict with the webinar link and the schedule provided. We'll make sure all those things are cleared up and so on. So you have your first class on Monday if your classes are on Monday. I usually like to highlight these. So if your classes are on Wednesday, your first class will only be Wednesday. So on Monday, you won't need to attend a live class. So I think that's also important to note. So just because I say we are starting on Monday, doesn't necessarily mean you'll have to be in the class on Monday. If your first class is on Friday, for example, that means you'll only need to attend the first live session on Friday up until Friday. And then on a weekly basis, your class will remain to be on Friday or to be on Wednesday, unless the instructor reschedules, which shouldn't be often. It should only be in very extreme circumstances. We discourage instructors from rescheduling their classes too regularly. So, and with that said, I don't want to keep you here any longer. I know it might be a bit late for most students, but I wish you the very best. I don't know, Alan, anything to add? Saliha, Samira, please jump in as we conclude.
I think nothing to add on my end. If you feel like you have any technical difficulties between now and next week, I think now is this right to help desk, to the certificate program office, and to any relevant office. The descriptions are there, so you'll be able to get what's needed for your end. And then we advise just use the contact form. Then you'll be able to get assisted before the next week and hopefully resume learning as fast as possible. And we hope you have a good experience with EBU. Thank you.
Thank you. Saliha, Samira, any final comments as we conclude?
No, thank you. As Alan mentioned, however, we covered most of the things in today's meeting, but if you have any questions, please feel free to contact help desk and other departments. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you to my team for being present and the support, and thank you everyone for joining. Hope this was helpful. Have a lovely evening, and see you on Friday for the student orientation meeting, and thereafter see you in your classes as you get started with your courses, and all the best.